guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today's video I am really excited about because today we're going to be doing a story time, and I actually wasn't planning on filming today just because I went to work, which is why I look a little rough. It's also 100 degrees outside, like it's so hot outside, so my hair is just like all over the place, and I was gonna redo it before I filmed this, but you know, I'm going to the gym later, so not doing that. I also kind of look like a basketball player. I just really like this shirt and it's hot, so this is super comfortable. Also have a huge bruise on my arm from my cousins deciding to jump on me in the pool on 4th of July and literally elbow me in the arm, and I have bruised super easily, so that's super fun. Sorry, that's there. It's very ugly. I don't like it either. Anyways, I think that's basically everything I needed to address. So I look crazy because I've been at work all day. It's also 100 degrees outside. I have this ugly bruise on my arm. I look like I play sports, but it's just hot. I'm also in a new location because I did move apartments. If you guys are interested in seeing a tour of this apartment, I have one linked down below. It's my last video. It's an empty apartment tour, but look forward in the future to an actual full apartment tour once I get everything organized and done. I am slowly working on getting my room together, getting the whole apartment together. So look forward to that in the future. But today I'm going to be telling you guys a story time, and this one I was actually, interestingly enough, I was at work today and I was talking to some people, and I was talking to them about like moving apartments and stuff. So everybody's been asking me like how I like my new apartment, all of that. Love it, it's super cute. And then it made me think about this apartment that I used to live in that was literally the apartment complex from hell. When I say this was the apartment complex from hell, this is not an exaggeration. This place was actually awful, and when I get into the actual story, you're gonna see why. So I went through my emails and I found some receipts so I can actually show you guys basically exactly what they sent to me, because it's crazy, and it's just a story. So that being said, if you guys would like to hear about the story of the apartment complex from hell, just keep watching. Okay guys, so here is the basic premise for this story. So when I moved to college, which was in 2013, August of 2013 is when I started college, I originally moved into dorms on the campus. So I moved into the dorms. I lived in the dorms for a year. About halfway through the year, I decided that me and my roommate, we wanted to get an apartment for the following year, which would have been like 2014 into 2015 basically. So me and my roommate start looking around. We start seeing what kind of apartments there are and all that, and we end up finding out about this apartment complex that is currently being built. So this is around like November of 2013 or so that we find out about this apartment complex that's supposed to be done being built in like July of 2014, and then people can move in like August of 2014. We basically end up meeting with somebody that works there. We start talking to them. I have to give this girl credit too, because she was really convincing. She was like, yeah, this apartment complex is gonna be so different from than other places. Like, the amenities are so much nicer. Like, this is literally listed as luxury student living. Like, that is what it's listed as on their website. And I will say, like, once it was built and everything, it was super nice, but just keep in mind that they were selling this to us, and all we knew at this point was like dorm. So like, we're obviously tired of dorm life. We're like, wow, like we could move into this new place that's never been lived in by anybody. Like, that sounds great. So we end up signing a lease stupidly, and I say stupidly because you should really look into places. That's what I learned this time around, like getting this apartment, and like, you really need to look around, read reviews, all that. Obviously there weren't like reviews and stuff for this place because it wasn't built yet, but definitely if you're ever looking for an apartment, make sure that you, for the love of all that is good in this world, read the reviews online, and also don't just settle on one place. Like, look multiple places, because it took me a really long time to find this place, and I absolutely love this apartment complex. I think it's great. It's so much better even than the last one I lived in, which wasn't a terrible one, but that was kind of a rush thing too, which I will get into more at the end of this video. But yes, so anyways, we signed the lease for this apartment, and we're just gonna call this apartment complex apartment A. We'll just call it A, like that's the complex. So we signed the lease for apartment A, and we basically are set up to be moving in August, like when we start our sophomore year of college. So it was me and my roommate, and then it was 2 other girls that we had met, and they had signed a lease with us. So we were going to be living in a 4-bedroom, 4-bathroom apartment. So it was really nice. We were really excited. kind of like as this year continues on, like we are in contact with the apartment. They are like telling us, like giving us updates. July 14th, 2014, apartment A sent us an email telling us that we had rent due on July 15th. So basically, you had to make this rent payment, and you had to either like take it to the apartment complex or you had to like mail it to them. So I was actually going to be in the area at that, like on that day. So me and my mom actually drove up this way, and we decided to drop off the check, and then we were going like shopping or something in the area. I don't really remember why we were down here, but we were there. And also where I live now is like an hour from my parents' house, so let's just keep that in mind. But yeah, so we brought the check and we dropped it off, and we were only able to go over to like where the leasing office was at apartment A. And we go there, we drop off the check. The ladies in the office are like,
yeah, like, we can't wait for you guys to move in next month. Like, it's gonna be great. Like, everything is so good.
They're like telling us like all of this, like, and from what we could see of the complex, because we couldn't see the entire thing, from what we could see, the apartments looked really nice. It looked like everything was coming along really well, all of that. And they were just telling us like, yeah, everything's going great. Like, we can't wait to have you guys move in, blah, blah, blah. So anyways, we leave from there, and I'm like, cool, like, can't wait to move in. Like, I think this was about a month out from when I was supposed to be moving in, and it was really like exciting. I was so excited to be living in like a place that was my own for once, and that wasn't a dorm, and to have my own bathroom, and just like all of that. Like, it was really, really exciting for me. About, I would say maybe a week before what was scheduled to be our move-in date, so let's just maybe say, I don't know, like, I'm gonna guess around maybe the 10th of August, we end up getting an email, not a phone call, an email from this apartment complex, essentially telling us, yeah, the apartment's not gonna be ready in time, so you guys aren't gonna be able to move in. Let that just sink in that I was supposed to be starting school on like the 20th or something, I think, of August, and this is like the 10th of August where they're telling me, no, sorry, you can't move in on the 18th of August. So you're telling me I'm going to be homeless, basically. To say that I was angry was like, would be like, that's not even like getting to the surface of it. I was so mad. Like, I literally remember like wanting to cry because I was so angry, because I'm like, what am I supposed to do? And this apartment complex was not giving us any answers. I also probably should mention, this was like student apartments. So like, it's a lot of students and stuff that are working in this leasing office. And I'm getting no answers from anybody. Nobody's telling me anything. I'm like, what am I gonna do? I was in a sorority at the time, which like was taking like a lot of time. So like, I was supposed to be there like a couple of days early because we had like recruitment and stuff. And like, it was just too much. And I was freaking out. Like, I was so angry at this point. But basically what they ended up telling us was either you could basically pick options. Either you could live at home and commute back and forth, and they would pay you essentially, and then you wouldn't have to pay rent or anything, like, obviously, because there's nothing to pay rent on, but they would pay you. Or what you could also do is they could set you up in a hotel for however long you were going to be in these hotels, and essentially you would be getting paid a monthly stipend, which was like essentially like making up for the amenities and stuff you were missing, blah, blah, blah. So, because my parents live an hour away, because my roommate's parents live an hour away and all of that, we essentially had to do the hotel thing. So we are like, okay, we're gonna move into a hotel. When I tell you that this place was ridiculous, this email came on the 16th of August. I'm assuming I either moved in, no, actually, just kidding. I got this email August 16th, 2014 at 12:49 a.m. and actually, yeah, that was the day we were supposed to move in. I'm sorry, I was wrong about it being the 18th. Literally it was like, this is the time that you can move in to the hotel. Like, they sent us this information about like how we were getting into the hotels at literally almost 1 a.m. the day of us having to come there to move in. You get what I'm saying? Like, August 16th, 12:49 a.m. You're sending me this, and I'm supposed to be there at the hotel that I was staying in. They wanted me there at 10 a.m. that same day to move in. That didn't end up happening. I didn't end up getting here till like 2, which didn't really matter because like they weren't going to give me an attitude after they basically had me living in a hotel. So that happens. We end up going and moving into this hotel. So it was me and my roommate living in this hotel. Literally, like, we were told it's gonna be like 2 weeks maybe, and then you guys will get to move in. August 30th, we're still not moved in. Okay, August 30th, they send us an email basically giving us an update about when we'll be able to move in. So there's a lot on this. I'm going to be obviously adding all this in so you guys can see, because duh, like, I'm gonna give you guys like receipts. Basically giving us a list of dates, and then the date that for our actual place that we were supposed to be moving in was the, please listening to this date, is October 5th, 2014. October 5th, 2014 is when I'm supposed to move into my apartment that I was supposed to move into on August 16th. Please tell me how it goes from being 2 weeks that I can't move in to almost 2 full months. And you would think, guys, you would think, like, it can't get worse than this. But no, it does, because on September 19th, 2014, they send us another update of when we'll be able to move in. And the new date is now October 18th. So we have moved from October 5th to October 18th. That is literally 2 full months from when I was supposed to originally move in. Like, that is insane to me. And the fact that nobody sued this place, like, I'm surprised nobody sued this place. And I don't know if a lot of people were scared because we did sign leases and a lot of us were students and a lot of us were like not really sure what to do. I'm surprised parents didn't sue. Maybe they did. My parents like didn't, because they were like, you know, there was a lot going on in my like personal life at the time. So like there's just a lot going on, but it was horrible. So I'm living in a hotel for 2 months. Let's just keep that in mind. Granted, I will say, luckily for us, we lived in a hotel that was like a suite style. So like we had a kitchen and stuff, but still I was living in a hotel for 2 months. Ridiculous. On October 14th, which we are now 4 days from when we were supposed to move in, right? Because we're supposed to move on October 18th, 2014. I get this email on October 14th, 2014 that basically says, we received an update letting us know that unfortunately we will not be able to move you in this weekend. Our construction team will be needing some extra time to finish up your home. We apologize for the inconvenience this brings, and we will be reaching out to you in the next couple of days with a couple of options as well as an estimated date. They sent us an email 4 days before we were supposed to move in, telling us, oh, by the way, you're still not moving in. So we're rolling into like almost November at this point, like, and I'm still living in this hotel that I was supposed to move into in August. And when I tell you this was the worst semester of my life, I'm not kidding. It was terrible. This was actually awful, and I think this is the reason that like I just realized like how much I hated school like after this semester. But moving on, there's probably another update or something somewhere in between, but I'll just give you guys a basic rundown. Essentially, after this email and after they told us they would send us like an update, what they basically told us was either you could continue living in the hotels, or they had properties, like they had apartments on the site that were finished, like they were done being built, that didn't have anybody like assigned to them. So if you wanted to, you could move into those and live there until yours was done. Now tell me why you would have those done before the ones that have people actually assigned to them. I don't really understand. Basically at this point, me and my roommate were living on top of each other in this hotel. We decided to take that option, and we ended up moving into like a temporary apartment, which was like a 2-bedroom, like it was kind of cool. It was like almost like a townhome almost. It was interesting. We lived there. So we moved in, I don't remember, sometime in October, but we moved in there. So we did get out of the hotel, but still we're not in the actual apartment we're supposed to be in. Okay, moving on. On November 17th, 2014, I get another email update, which basically says, because they had sent us an email telling us that November 22nd would be our move-in date. They sent this on November 17th. Keep that in mind. 22nd was the new move-in date they had given us. 17th, so 5 days from this, they sent us an email telling us we will not be able to move you in. However, we have decided to push the date back to December 6th, 2014. So we went all the way into December. all the way. I spent a semester not in my apartment. It was the most ridiculous thing that I've ever experienced in my entire life. And I know that it sounds really dramatic because, like, yes, I had a place to stay, blah, blah, blah. Yes, they were giving me money. But still, how do you keep pushing back the dates? Like, this is multiple emails. I don't even think, obviously, because, like, I couldn't find some of the emails. Like, they sent us so many emails telling us this is the moving date, then changing it, then changing it. This one really made me mad because this one, we were like, this has to be the moving date, right? So we had went and bought furniture. Like, this bed that I have, I like went and had bought the bed frame. Like, it was at IKEA waiting to be shipped to my house like that weekend. I ended up having to cancel my order, all that. It was so stupid. But yeah, that's when they decided they were gonna move us in December 6th, which also happened to fall like during finals week. And it was just stupid, although they did tell us, like, you know, obviously if you need more time because of finals weeks, you can take your time, which they should say, because obviously they were like the ones that kept pushing and pushing and pushing it back. But yes, that is basically what happened with that. And you would probably think to yourself, wow, like that's terrible, like that's awful, that's horrible. But that doesn't make this the worst apartment complex ever. But guys, it gets better and better and better because this place was an absolute shit show. And I don't know how they still have people leasing out this apartment complex. Like, I do not understand it, okay? So, we moved in December. Blah, blah, blah. That's whatever. The next, like, year is fine. Like, we basically re-signed a lease, which is stupid on our part, but we re-signed a lease because at this point, it took us so long to move in. Like, I wasn't trying to move again. So we ended up signing another lease for like another year. So our lease was supposed to end in like July of 2016. Okay, our lease would have ended in July of 2016. So the next year, like 2015, is fine. We live in this apartment complex. It's all good. I mean, the apartment was like, there was a lot of things wrong. Like, there was lack of parking. There was like tons of obnoxious kids, but it's like student living, so I really can't say a whole lot about that. That's not even like really what bothers me. Like, people, and this is not our apartment, because our apartment honestly didn't have like that many problems, but like other people in like other buildings and like other units literally had like mold. They had like their AC would stop working. I remember like somebody said like their washer and dryer was broken for like 4 months and they never came to fix it. Like, there was a lot of stuff. And when I tell you guys, because this was a student apartment and because it was all students essentially running it, it was a mess. Like, it was just a complete and utter mess. Like, it was just like they didn't know what was going on. And anytime you would ask them questions, like, they would deflect. They would be like, oh, like, we'll send this to the building manager. The building manager like never was around. Like, it was just a lot. So this place was just kind of all disorganized. But like, for the most part, like, our actual apartment was fine for like that entire like year. So then it gets into 2016 and me and my roommate decided, you know what, we're gonna end up actually moving out, and we were actually gonna move in with our other friend who was our roommate our freshman year. So the three of us are supposed to move in together, and we're kind of looking for a new apartment, and we're doing searching, and we're like looking at places, and we're looking at prices, and we're looking at like areas because we still need to kind of be around the school and stuff. So we're just looking for all of this. We get into May, and it was the weekend before Mother's Day. And because I work at a restaurant, I literally have to work like pretty much every holiday. Like, I don't get holidays off. And I had been working at this job for like, literally I started this job in like January. So I'd only been at this job for like 5 months. And I basically went home for a couple of days to my parents' house so that I could spend like pre-Mother's Day with my mom, because I was gonna have to work on Mother's Day. So I was heading back like kind of in the afternoon on, I would assume it was like Friday or Saturday, probably Saturday, because I think I had to work at 4. So I literally was like driving, like I said, my parents live an hour away. I think I mentioned that earlier. My parents live an hour away. I was driving from my parents' house back up towards this way, and I get a phone call from my roommate when I'm like halfway like on my drive, and I answer the phone, and my roommate's like not the best at explaining stuff, and she's just like, the apartment's like telling us that we have to be out by night, and I'm like sitting in my car and I'm like, what? I'm I'm sorry, we have to be out. And I was like, did we not pay our rent or something? Like, I'm sitting there like, in my head, I'm like, no, I paid the rent. Like, what? Like, what? Like, what do you mean we have to be out? And she was like, yeah, like, we have to be out tonight. Like, we have to get all of our stuff out. And I was like, I'm on the phone, like, literally, like me, in my car, like, driving. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? I have to go to work. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm literally driving from my parents' house that is an hour away to work. Like, I'm going straight to work. I'm just like on the phone. I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm like, what happened? And she's like, I really don't know. She's like, the apartment complex called me. First off, like, why they only called her, I don't understand. And I'm like, well, what is our other roommate saying? And she's like, I don't know. I haven't talked to her yet. I just wanted to call you because she's like, I knew you were going to work. And I'm like, I'm literally about to have a panic attack because I don't know what's going on. I'm like freaking out. Then I decide like, okay, like I'm gonna try to call the apartment complex. They don't answer me. Then I call my mom. My mom didn't answer me. And meanwhile, I'm just having a panic attack in my car. Like, just imagine me, who's already a stressed out person. I'm in my car. I'm just like, I have to go to work. My work doesn't close till 11. Like, I have to go to work. I'm gonna be at work till 11. They said I have to be out tonight. Like, I don't know what's going on. Like, all the thoughts in my head are just like my brain is just like this. And I am freaking out. Like, I was freaking the fuck out. Like, I did not know what to do. I was like, oh my God, like, I'm going to like be homeless again. Finally, I get to work and my mom hasn't answered me. Like, nobody's answered me. I left my mom like 10 frantic messages, like, call me. Like, I don't know what's going on. Like, I don't know what to do. I go into work. My manager is there. I'm like freaking out. He's like, oh my God. He takes me to the back office. Him and my other managers like get me like kind of calm down. And they're like, okay, like, here, you can use the office phone. Just call the leasing office and see what's going on. So I call the leasing office. I ask them what's going on. And literally I have them on speaker because my managers are like listening, so that way they can like know what's going on because they're nosy, which I appreciate them letting me use it. And I appreciate them being like, they actually did ask questions too, which helped me out a ton. But yeah, basically they told me that essentially they had an inspection on our building and that they had failed the inspection, and essentially like the apartment was not stable. So the way the apartment was set up was, it was like, here's the apartment and there's this hill and it's overlooking what was supposed to be a lake, but there's no lake there. It's literally just a big hole in the ground that they never filled in. So it's like this, right? So apparently it wasn't stable. So my thought process was, and they never really said this to me, but this is just in my head, me being crazy. I'm like, is it like gonna like fall like into that hole because that hole is there? I don't know. So I'm like, I don't know what's going on. They're just basically like, we just need you guys to move your stuff out for the night. They're like, and like, we'll contact you tomorrow to just like give you some more information. So luckily my managers let me leave early. I go home, I pack up stuff. We end up getting sent to this hotel. Me and my roommate go there, we stay there. The next morning, I think this was the next morning. Oh, basically they said this. They were like, as you know, we had engineers recently evaluating building 18, which was our building. They had asked us to relocate both buildings, and then the other building was the clubhouse, which was like where all the stuff was, out of abundance of caution so that we may further evaluate it. They moved operations out of the clubhouse, building 18 by midnight. We asked you to temporarily relocate from building 18 by midnight tonight. So keep that in mind. Like, I was planning on being at work till 11 and they were telling me I was gonna have to be out by midnight. Thank God my managers let me leave. Anyways, they basically told you that you could have a bunch of like different options. And one of the options was they were gonna give us $1,500 and you had to find your accommodations between that day and the 14th. Or you could get alternative housing, or you could vacate and have no further obligation under your lease. So basically, me and my roommate were kind of like, well, we're kind of in a jam because we are supposed, like, our lease is up in July. It's May. We're supposed to be moving in with our friend in July. We've been looking at apartments. We're kind of set on like a couple. So we're like, what are we gonna do because we need to move? So essentially what we decided to do was we decided to take the $1,500 they were gonna give us, and we basically made our own accommodation. So we rented out a hotel room for a week. We rented out this hotel room and we were like, we're gonna wait to see what they tell us, because if it ends up being like nothing, then we can move back in for the last 2 months and then if it is something, we at least have some money and maybe we can go ahead and get an apartment. The 12th of May, they basically sent us an email saying that they decided that, well, structural engineers continue to evaluate that. They advised us they are unable to provide a timetable for completion on their investigation. Due to the circumstances, residents cannot occupy this for the immediate period. So then they basically said you could transfer your lease to another building on the site, which why would I do that? Or you could terminate your lease effective May 14th and receive a refund for the rent that you paid. And then you got the $1,500. So basically they sent this 2 days before like we had to be out of our hotel, because we had like rented the hotel up through the 14th of May because that was like the date. So they're basically like, okay, cool. So this was on the 12th of May and they were like, yeah, so basically you can't move back in, which is kind of what I figured was going to end up happening just because of all the shit that had gone on with this place. I was like, I'm probably not going to be able to move back in. So we basically decided like we weren't going to like transfer our lease to a different apartment, because like why would we want to stay somewhere? Like, you have to think, like, this place has like screwed us over so many times. Like, we literally didn't move in for a full semester and now we're getting kicked out 2 months early essentially, and it's just like, why would we want to move to a different one? Like, what's to say that that apartment isn't going to have mold or have like any of the other issues that people have had here? People had break-ins. Like, I mean, like, what's to say that it's not going to have those issues? So basically we decided to terminate our lease right then and there with apartment A, and we ended up finding our last apartment, which we lived in for 2 years. And that was kind of a rush thing too, where we kind of had to go with what had availability for us to move in soon because our jobs are here and like all that. So it was a lot, and it was really agitating. And even the apartment complex that I lived in last time wasn't the nicest apartment complex. I did like my apartment for certain aspects. Like, I loved my room there. I loved my bathroom there. But for certain aspects, like, it definitely wasn't the best place. But for the time and for like how time crunched we were and like having to find an apartment pretty much on the spot, it was good for what we ended up finding. But yeah, that place is a absolute shit show. I don't know how apartment A is still setting out leases, how people are still signing leases. I mean, there are literally horror stories about this place, and as much as I would love to drag their name and like tell you their name, I just don't feel like it's worth it to give them any more media coverage. They've had media coverage every single time, like, people haven't been able to move in, blah blah blah. Our biggest problem was like them not answering the phone ever, not answering questions, us not moving in for a whole semester, and then us getting kicked out 2 months early because the building was sinking. Probably because they didn't actually make it structurally sound, which you would have thought they would have had plenty of time to do since it took us a whole semester to move in. But that is my story about the apartment complex in Brownell. And I don't know if you guys have had these kind of experiences. I've had like a lot of bad experiences, but that really takes the cake on like bad experiences I've had. It really, to me, ruined a lot of my time in college because I spent so much time like not happy, just because like I was moving and like I had personal problems, and then like not having a place to call your own for a really long time really can add on to that. So that is my story. It was very dramatic. If you guys have a story dramatic like that, let me know. Like I said, there will be receipts and stuff included so you guys can read and see everything that I'm saying is true. But yeah, I'm tired and that really wore me out, and I'm hungry now. So I'm gonna go and get some food, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. Until then, make sure to subscribe if you're not already. Follow me on social media. I will have them all linked down below. Check out my empty apartment tour, and yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.